لله رب العالمين وأفضل الصلاة وأتم التسليم على سيدنا محمد وعلى آله وأصحابه أجمعين. We continue by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's blessings on the hadith of Sayyidina Jibreel alayhi salam asking the Prophet sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. Then he asked him saying, فأخبرني عن الإيمان فأخبرني عن الإيمان قال أن تؤمن بالله وملائكته وكتبه ورسله واليوم الآخر وتؤمن بالقدر خيره وشره. He said to believe in Allah and His angels and His books and His messengers and the last day. Then he said, and to believe in al-Qadar وتؤمن بالقدر خيره وشره. And to believe in al-Qadar. As if, subhanAllah, this form, as if it's showing the great importance of this pillar of Iman. So he did not say to believe in Allah and His angels and His books and His messengers and the last day and al-Qadar. No, he said, and to believe in al-Qadar khayrihi wa sharrihi. So I think, Wallahu a'lam, Allah knows best, that separating al-Qadar, it shows its importance, and it shows maybe that some people might be denying or misunderstanding al-Qadar, and that's what happened. Since early Islam, we have some groups who have wrong conceptions about al-Qadar. Some groups, they believe we have no free will. We have no free will. And some groups, they said, Allah doesn't know every detailed thing. Allah doesn't know every detailed thing. So you have deviations from the two sides. Believing in al-Qadar is extremely important pillar of Iman, and it is in reality a result of believing in Allah's knowledge and Allah's will and Allah's power. They are results. Belief in al-Qadar is a result. If we understand al-Qadar truly, it is a result of believing in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's knowledge and will and power. Al-Qada, we have al-Qada and al-Qadar. The scholars of Aqidah, they define al-Qada and al-Qadar. And they say al-Qada is ilmullah al-azali bil-ashya' qabla huduthiha, is the eternal knowledge of Allah of everything before it happens. And that is common sense for a God. A God must know everything. Definitely, if He doesn't know everything before it happens, He is not a God. So that is al-Qada. Al-Qada is the eternal knowledge of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala of everything that will happen in the future. Everything before it happens. Now, al-Qadar is the fulfillment of that knowledge in reality. Is the fulfillment of that eternal knowledge in reality. That is al-Qadar. And that is part of Allah's power and part of Allah's knowledge. So if what He already knew, subhanahu wa ta'ala, didn't happen as He exactly knew, this means His knowledge was incomplete. And that is impossible. Because Allah's knowledge is complete and ultimate and full of everything. And His power also and His will that everything will happen exactly according to what He willed or what He knew, subhanahu wa ta'ala. And these are the definitions of Ahl Sunnah, like Imam Ibn Hajar and Imam Nawawi and others. Al-Qadr mentioned in the Quran in many times. Al-Qadr literally in Arabic means specific measure. For example, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says in Surah Al-Qamar, إِنَّا كُلَّ شَيْءٍ خَلَقْنَاهُ بِقَدَرٍ. إِنَّا كُلَّ شَيْءٍ خَلَقْنَاهُ بِقَدَرٍ. Surely we have created everything with a specific measure. Everything. So that is the general belief about al-Qadar. خَيْرِهِ وَشَرِّهِ. Whether good or not good. Sometimes something happens to you, you see it's good, you're happy, okay. And it might be not good, by the way. It might make you happy and you rejoice, but in reality, it's not good, but you don't know. And sometimes something apparently bad happens to you, and you feel sad, and some people, even some Muslims, I have seen with my own eyes, Not only even in Syria, I have seen people objecting on the qadr of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala when something evil or bad happens to them. And that's because of the weakness of their iman. That's the lack of knowledge and the lack of iman, the lack of, or the weakness of iman. So when something bad happens to them, they object, or they don't show patience, and they don't show satisfaction with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's qadr. And this is why the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam is emphasizing here. He's telling you tu'min wa tu'minu bil qadari khayrihi wa sharrihi. To believe in the qadr, whether it's good or not good. And sometimes this not good qadr, apparently for you, it might be good. As Allah says in the Quran, in a very beautiful ayah, وَعَسَىٰ أَن تَكْرَهُ شَيْئًا وَهُوَ خَيْرٌ لَكُمْ. You might dislike something, but it is in reality good for you. And you might like something, وَعَسَىٰ أَن تُحِبُّ شَيْئًا, and it is not good for you. وَاللَّهُ يَعْلَمُ وَأَنْتُمْ لَا تَعْلَمُونَ. And Allah knows, but you don't. Means what? Allah knows the full picture. We only see one side of the story, as they say. We only see one scene, but we don't see the full scene. We did not see the full picture. So that is briefly the general iman in al-qadr. In details, we have to believe in four things. Number one, that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala eternally knows in details everything before it happens, and it will never happen in a different way from what He knew subhanahu wa ta'ala. Allah gives us some examples in the Quran. There is no leaf of a tree that falls except that He knows it subhanahu wa ta'ala. Subhanallah, imagine, especially now as the leaves are falling, imagine the huge numbers in the world of the leaves of the trees in the world. Imagine every single one. He knows the grains of sands in the oceans, subhanahu wa ta'ala. He knows them one by one. He knows every single one. That is His eternal knowledge. So He knows everything, subhanahu wa ta'ala, before it happens in details, and nothing ever can be hidden from His knowledge. Number two, we believe that everything has been already written before Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala created the heavens and the earth. So simply, this knowledge has been recorded. This knowledge of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He willed it to be recorded in the sacred tablet or in a book there in the divine presence. And number three, that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala distributed that qadr over the years. And we know Laylatul Qadr, not Laylatul Qadr, Laylatul Qadr, the night of decree, or the night of honor and glory. In that night of every year, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala specifies or gives to the angels the maqadir, the measures of everything for that year. This is one of the reasons of the importance of Laylatul Qadr. And finally, that everything will be fulfilled and will happen as it was written and as it was distributed that year, exactly in the same measure that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala specified. How much rain will fall, how many people will be born, how many people will die, everything. So we have to believe in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's qadr, and that is part of His being a God who knows everything, and that nothing can happen without His will. So there are very important points about qadr and misconceptions. Inshallah, we're gonna explain them inshallah in the coming talks. And finally, some people who did not have enough knowledge, they say, as we mentioned in the beginning, that the human being is mujbar, is mukrah, has no free will. And in reality, subhanallah, you will find only the people who are following their own desires are the ones who will hold these ideas. And I had discussions with many people, even in Syria, subhanallah. When you discuss with them with logic and with reason, you find they have no logic or reason. And then you realize that their only reason for this belief is their failure, their weakness, their disappointment in this world, and because they want to follow their own desires. Imam al-Khattabi, radiallahu anhu, and we finish with his words, and he's very, very early scholar, he said, لَيْسَ الْأَمْرُ كَمَا يَتَوَهَّمُونَ. It's not as those people think or as these people claim. It is telling, means al-qadar, of Allah eternal or pre-eternal knowledge of what the servant will earn or what the servant will choose. That is the summary of this. So the scholars mentioned this before. It is the eternal knowledge of Allah of what you're gonna choose. Allah gave you the free will, and whatever you will choose in your life, that is what has been written and what has been known. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala knows it before it happens. Inshallah, we're gonna give some examples and some other proofs so that inshallah we have this belief or this pillar of Iman clear in our minds. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala make us of those who listen to this speech and follow its best. Allahumma salli ala Sayyidina Muhammad. Allahumma lakal hamd. اللهم تقبل منا إنك أنت السميع العليم وتب علينا إنك أنت التواب الرحيم ربنا آتنا في الدنيا حسنة وفي الآخرة حسنة وقنا عذاب النار اللهم علمنا ما ينفعنا وانفعنا بما علمتنا. Oh Allah, teach us what benefit us, increase us in knowledge, in good morals, in good deeds. Ya Rabb al-Alameen, make the knowledge as proof for us and not against us. Ya Arhamar Rahimeen, make us of those who reflect on the Quran, reflect upon the Quran and understand the Quran. Ya Arhamar Rahimeen. Oh Allah, give relief to our brothers and sisters who are suffering everywhere. Ya Arhamar Rahimeen. اللهم صل على سيدنا محمد وآله وصحبه وسلم تسليما كثيرا والحمد لله رب العالمين.